Hello, I'd like to share some information with you today in regards to effective communication. This information is coming today from helpguide.org, from Lawrence Robinson, Jean Siegel, and Melinda Smith. So these are tips that can help you avoid misunderstandings, grasp the real meaning of what's being communicated, and generally improve your work and personal relationships. So, what is effective communication? Effective communication is about more than just exchanging information. It's about understanding the emotional and intentions behind the information, as well as being able to clearly convey a message that you need to in a way that gains the full meaning of what is being said and what makes the other person feel heard and understood. So oftentimes when we try to communicate with others, it may go astray. We say one thing, the other person hears something else. There could be possibly misunderstanding, frustration, and conflicts that can ensue. This can cause a problem, possibly in home, school, work, relationships. So for many of us, communicating more clearly and effectively requires learning some important skills. So what's stopping a person from communicating effectively? Some common barriers are stress and out of control emotions. When you're stressed or emotionally overwhelmed, you're more than likely to misread other people, send confusing or off-putting nonverbal signals, and lapse into an unhealthy knee-jerking pattern of behavior. To avoid conflict and misunderstandings, you can learn how to quickly calm down before continuing the conversation. A lack of focus. If you cannot communicate effectively when you're multitasking, and that is not something that typically happens, being able to focus while multitasking. Like if you're checking your phone, if you're planning on what to say next, that can be helpful. If you're daydreaming, you're almost certain to miss nonverbal cues in a conversation. So to communicate effectively, you need to avoid distractions to stay focused. Excuse me. Inconsistent body language. Nonverbal communication should reinforce what is being said, not contradict it. If you're saying one thing and your body language is saying something else, your listener will likely feel like you're being not so honest or truthful. For example, if you're saying yes and you're shaking your head no, that is an example of inconsistent body language. Also, there's negative body language. If you disagree or dislike something that's being said, a person may cross their arms, avoid eye contact, rolling their eyes, tapping their feet. You don't have to necessarily agree with a person or what is being said. And though, to communicate effectively and not put the other person on defense, it's important to be cognizant of the body language that's being used or the nonverbal cues. So, effective communication skill one is becoming an engaged listener. What this really means is there's a difference between being engaged and listening and simply hearing. When you're really listening, you're able to engage with the person and what they're saying or what is being said. You'll hear the subtle annotations in someone's voices that tell you that a person is feeling and or their emotions that are trying to be communicated. When you're engaged in listening or active listening, not only will you better understand the other person, you can also make that person feel heard and understood, which can build a stronger, deeper connection between you. By communicating in this way, you'll also experience a process that lowers stress and supports physical and emotional well-being. If the person you're talking to is calm, for example, listening in an engaged way will help calm you as well. Similarly, if the person is agitated, you want to help them calm themselves by listening in an attentive way and make the person feel understood and vice versa. So, there are also tips for becoming an engaged listener. Focus fully on the speaker. You can't really listen in an engaged way if you're kind of having distractions, checking your phone, multitasking, having other conversations. In order to stay focused on the moment to moment experience, you'll need to be able to pick up the subtle nuances, important nonverbal cues in a conversation. If you find it hard to concentrate on when someone's speaking, try repeating their words in your head. It'll reinforce their message and help you stay focused. Avoiding interrupting or trying to redirect the conversation to your concerns. By saying something like, I don't know, let me know what happened, or, let me tell you what happened to me. Listening is not the same as waiting for your turn to talk. It can aid in you losing concentration on what the person is saying if you're forming what you're saying or what you're thinking they're going to say next. Showing your interest in what's being said. Nodding occasionally, smiling at the person, making sure that your posture is open and inviting, encouraging the speaker to continue with small verbal comments like yes and okay. Trying to set aside judgment. In order to communicate effectively with a person, you do not have to necessarily like what they're saying or agree with them, or even their ideas, values, and opinion. However, though, you would need to set aside your judgment without blame and criticism in order to fully understand them. The most difficult communication, when successfully executed, can often lead to unlikely connections with an individual. So providing feedback. There are some things that can sometimes feel like you're being disconnected. Reflect on what's being said by paraphrasing. What I'm hearing you say is, and or, it sounds like you're saying, blah, blah, blah. Those are great ways to reflect back what an individual has said and what you took away from what they were saying. Not simply just repeating what the speaker said verbatim, though you would like to express what the speaker is actually meaning to you. So ask questions to clarify the points. What do you mean when you say, or is this what you mean? 2, pay attention to nonverbal signals. The way you listen, move, look, react to another person tells them more about how you're feeling than the words that are being said. So the body language includes facial expressions, body movement, gestures, eye contact, posture, the tone of your voice, and even muscle tension and breathing. Developing the ability to understand and use nonverbal communication can assist you in connecting with others, expressing what you really mean, and navigating challenging situations while building better relationships. So you can enhance effective communication by using open body language. What that means is arms uncrossed, standing with an open kind of stance, or sitting on the edge of your seat and maintaining eye contact with the person you're talking to.